Hello, my friend, and welcome to the 451st episode of the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. Today we have Sheryl Plouffe. She was a long-time experienced veteran on the Weather Network up in Canada, And she's taken that experience, 17 years plus, and helping you do more on video to grow your business. Video is obviously here to stay. You see the emphasis on every social media platform. Obviously, with the riots and everything else going on, you're seeing it as well. So what are you doing to show up and enter the conversation, interject, and get yourself seen, heard, noticed, get people acting on what the heck you're doing? We're going to cover that. All right. So we're talking about newsjacking. We're talking about how to overcome perfectionism, how to balance quality and quantity, and quite a few other things. So you're in for a treat. All right. If you want to continue the conversation, hit me up at theimplementors.com. It's our free group, theimplementors.com. And if you want to get in better shape, you want to eat what I eat so you can stay in shape, maybe do some jiu-jitsu, maybe jog, maybe swim 3.5 miles across Tampa Bay with me in January. Check out thesaleswhisper.com/fitness. And let me know what you think. Let me know what you're taking, how it's working. I'm still on some alpha brain. I've been cleaning up a few podcasts, getting these ready before I hit the road. So I look for some updates when I get back. But I'm still kicking this 10:07 p.m. as I do this intro. I'm usually in bed by now, but heading out for 25 days with the family. So I had to get ahead on a few of these so you get the listening pleasure, keep growing your sales. So let's help you grow your sales now and bring on Sheryl. Sheryl Plouffe all the way from Chatham, Canada. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How the heck are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Les?
I'm good, but I will ask the questions here. Okay, this is my show.
No doubt.
Don't be turning things around, man. Right.
I'm good with it.
You're my kindred spirit. You were on the weather. Was it the Weather Channel for Canada, right?
In Canada, we call it the Weather Network,
okay,
which is the Canadian equivalent of the Weather Channel. Yes.
Gotcha. So, all right. So they're not related? Are they different companies or are they related?
Interestingly, they were connected at one point in the past, but they are no longer connected.
Gotcha. So we can talk about some isotherms and high and low pressure, occluded front, but we won't. Maybe later, maybe afterwards.
Maybe later, we can get into the meteorology. I loved it. You know, it was such a great experience. I spent 17 years at the Weather Network. And interestingly, When I first got there, I didn't know really that much about the weather. I was a seasoned broadcaster at that point, but the weather, the topic was new to me. So I was, thrown into the fire. And, I had to kind of learn a lot of it on the job. And then I had some very thick textbooks that I would go through for, light reading, but it was a great experience.
Very nice. Well, we could talk about that forever, but we're going to kind of talk about a little bit of what you do, and that's helping people with video, right?
Yes.
Is that right? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, I do help people with video. I think of the video part of it as really the conduit or the catalyst to helping them do something that's even more fun and exciting, which is to position themselves as an authority and to increase their income in their business. We just happen to do it through the format of video because so many people are consuming video. So many people want more video. And so I really look at it as a catalyst to getting somewhere else.
So have you always leveraged that though? Has that been your emphasis in your coaching and consulting?
It has.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. It's always been the focus. There's always been a video focus because that's my experience. I come from this, somewhat rarefied, experience of being on television, but so much of what happens on the television side and on the broadcast network side is applicable to the entrepreneurial experience and journey, because when you really think about it, Wes, they're kind of the similar, right? You create content that's valuable to an audience, you build that audience, and then you monetize it. And so there's a big parallel between what happened in my broadcasting career to what I now help entrepreneurs do over here.
Right. So, I've had folks on, quite a few that do PR. They help you get on television and radio. But you are helping people just build their own brand, right? I mean,
Yeah.
even without the PR, I mean, kind of make their own PR, if you will.
Yeah, actually, it's a good point. It is about building up. It's like generating your own buzz. And the nice thing about what I do is I help people to position themselves as experts and authorities and a resource and leader in what they do. And as an offshoot and really benefit to doing that, they do get more PR as a result of that. So it does work hand in hand, because if you've positioned yourself that way, you just naturally generate more interest from people who are interested in having you on their platforms and put you in front of their audiences. So it's just a nice natural progression to that. But having said that, yeah, absolutely. There's some people specialize in that. And obviously I have a lot to say about media. I was one of the people on the receiving end of those pitches at one point in my career. Yeah. So I have a lot of advice to offer my clients in that regard. But I start with the premise of build your online presence, have a digital footprint that positions you as that expert. So it gives you more clout when you approach those media outlets, but those media outlets also have a better chance of finding you too.
And will they stumble upon you? Are journalists or reporters, are they scrolling through YouTube and go, oh, look at this, 138,000 views. Let me reach out to her and interview her about Zoom.
Yeah, actually it did happen to me. Back in, it was the early part of March, I think it was. I got an email out of the blue, and it was the Daily Mail Online UK. And they just contacted me and said, hey, we found your video on how to touch up your appearance on Zoom. We'd like to include it in our article. Okay, sure. And so I said yes. And no sooner did that happen, all of a sudden the views just took a massive, hockey stick going up. So it does work. That it is how it happens. YouTube is really a discovery platform. People find you there if you have the content that gets found. And when you do it the way that I suggest to do, which is to reverse engineer that and using keyword research and look for the low-hanging fruit because it's an algorithm, then you have a better chance of getting found.
So do you recommend, let's say somebody's brand new to this, or they're starting out, or, hey, their business just went through massive chaos here with COVID-19, and now they got to pivot, right? The old famous word right now, pivot.
Yes.
And they're going online, and everyone's telling them, you got to do Facebook Live. No, you got to do Instagram TV. No, you need to be doing Snapchat. No, you should be on YouTube. Well, you should do organic video and upload to LinkedIn, and then link over from Hootsuite, and then build an API to a VA in the Philippines. Okay, this poor guy's like, I'm just losing money. I just got to get the name out. I mean, where do they start?
Well, my strategy sounds similar to what you're talking about, but I've also been doing it for a lot longer. So what I always recommend for people who are starting out, choose one core platform and go all in on that platform. If it's LinkedIn, if it's YouTube, if it's Facebook. For me, it was Facebook for a long time. It's only been just this year that I've actually pivoted to do YouTube as my core platform, because I wanted, again, strategically, I was like, I really want to get in front of new people and get more discovered by more people. And that's the platform to do it. Whereas my Facebook strategy was to nurture the existing people who are already part of my network. So it is about strategy and having put some thought into what is it I'm trying to accomplish. And so, for 85% of most people, YouTube is an amazing platform because it is algorithm based. It is based on keywords. It's based on what people are actually searching in the Google machine. So it's going to benefit most people. Now, there are going to be some cases where maybe LinkedIn is, I actually was just speaking to someone this morning whose case it is to, actually LinkedIn might be the better thing for you. So it depends, but I would say just start with one and then expand from there and use efficient systems by which to distribute your content to a secondary and tertiary tier of distribution.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I get the exposure angle of YouTube. But if somebody's like a local provider, like I'm thinking about my jiu-jitsu instructor, right? He's got to make a big change. And on the one hand, he could benefit from local people because maybe he could do some private training. But on the other hand, if he made some content, maybe he could sell that globally. So would it be better in the short term to like do Facebook stuff because he's got a sphere of influence, and then maybe reprovision that, reuse it over on YouTube?
Can you tell me
longer term?
Yeah, and what is the topic or the industry that this person's in?
Martial arts.
Martial arts, a local martial arts. Yeah, you know what? I think first of all, I would be thinking about Instagram, just from the local targeting aspect of it, to be able to target, using local hashtags and location stickers and things like that. So to my way of thinking, I go, Instagram stories would be really powerful for a local business like that. It was trying to draw local people into a bricks and mortar type business. So that's one thing. If we're talking about what a lot of people now are doing, when you said pivot, the entrepreneurial pivot, like the thing that everyone's doing, is they're trying to monetize their expertise online by creating a program or a course or some type of way that they can package their intellectual property into something to sell. That is a global play, right? And so that's when I go, okay, if that's the goal, if the goal is for you to monetize something of your own and be able to, then that's not just a local thing. That's when we start talking about, well, then I would be doing YouTube for sure. And I think of martial arts, absolutely visual, right? It's a visual thing. Probably would do really well if, again, you go in and you actually strategically find the keywords that people are searching for. But even from a local perspective, if there depends what the community is, like if it's a small town of 400 people, that might be one thing. But if it's, a decent sized city, you could still be using keyword research locally and targeting people locally, even through YouTube. So it really, lots of different factors come into play, but those are the types of things that I would be looking at.
And just a standard smartphone, is that good enough? Do they have to get fancy with DSLRs or,
well, not in my opinion.
Tripods and lighting?
Yeah. A tripod, where's mine? Oh, it's over there. Yeah. A tripod is always a great investment. Inexpensive, lightweight tripod, Amazon Basics, $30. It's probably the best investment you'll make in order to hold your smartphone. But there are lots of inexpensive tools like that you can invest in to be able to be hands-free. If you're anything like me, I like to speak with my hands. And so, that's a great way to be expressive on camera, to show energy and to really up-level what you're speaking about. So I'd like to have my hands free as much as possible. So, and it may be a tripod, but I really, Wes, I always think about keeping it simple, back to basics. Like you really just need a webcam, a smartphone. If you have a DSLR camera and you're already skilled enough to use it, then that's great. But most people, I see them going, oh, I need video. I'm going to buy this $3,000 DSLR camera, which has every single bell and whistle on it. And then they spend 7 months trying to train themselves how to be a photographer. And it takes their eye off the ball of actually going out and serving people and creating content and their brand while they're toying with f-stop and ISO and things like that. So it's better to be really concentrating on actually building the brand and create content.
So do you recommend, do you buy ads to drive traffic to the video when it's new? Because it doesn't do any good to have a great content if nobody's watching it. And if you're new to all this, you don't have a list.
I think that when people are first starting out, you're still in that early stage of trying to discover and uncover the expert in you. That's the name of my course, Uncover the Expert in You. You're trying to figure that out. You're trying to figure out, I know I'm really good at this. This is my story. This is my experience, but you're still trying to figure stuff out. It's way too soon, in my opinion, to be running ads to something. To my way of thinking, and I do specialize in organic growth, right? So I'm not the person that you come to run ads and things like that. I'm more about the organic growth that leads you to a point where you can then scale. To my way of thinking, running ads, it can be very beneficial at the right time in the business, at the point where you have a proven model, a proven product, something that can be scaled, and that's what you use ads for. The problem is a lot of people start off in the beginning when they're just trying to explore, like, who am I and what am I doing and how do I position myself? And they're not creating content. They're just running ads to things. And then they lose $3,000 and go, why? That didn't work. And it's because you haven't built that foundation yet of discovering and uncovering the expert in you. You haven't created content. You haven't been actually talking to people, listening to people's feedback on videos, and responding back to them. You haven't done enough outreach. So many different fundamental things need to happen before you get to ads, before you get to scaling.
All right. It's tough, huh?
In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces and parts.
There are a ton of.
Should they map all this out, like create 30 days of a calendar? I'm going to talk, I'm going to build this thing, or should it be like more off the cuff or responding to like current events and things, like how much is it structured versus free flowing?
I think it depends on your experience and your skill. I'm very skilled at it. So I can make a video, like I could just in the next hour, Wes, if I wanted to, I could be like, here's the topic and boom, and I can crank out a video. But I've all been doing this for a long time. Most people don't have that skill. To your point about news, what I call news jacking. So that is something that's relevant, that's going on in the news. If it's happening in your industry, it's a great opportunity for you to go in and news jack and be able to say, okay, well, here's my opinion about this, and tag on to that and say, ride the coattails of that news story, for example. I do support planning. One of the things I talk about in my course is that, we do brainstorming exercises and we do planning exercises, because you can plan things out to a theme. Let's just say, for example, and I have videos that explain all of this on my YouTube channel, but let's say you're doing 4 videos for the month of February. You might strategically go, you know what? I've done the keyword research. I found that people are really interested in this. Here are 4 topics that are related to one another over the course of February. And now you can make themed approach to that. And now you can start to promote videos to each other within that month, which only drives more views to it. You can also then put it all on a playlist, the February playlist, and you can promote just the playlist. So there's a lot to be said for that. But yeah, I do support planning. Contentcalendar.SherylPlouffe.com is a free download of a content calendar if anyone's interested to do that. It is on Google Drive. And you get an explanation video, how to do it, why you need it, and then swipe my content calendar and save it for yourself. And it's just a simple way to track, the planning of the videos and where you'll publish them and how.
So what was that URL again?
Contentcalendar.SherylPlouffe.com. Okay. And it's just a simple way to jumpstart this process of planning, because a lot of people are running, from the seat of their pants kind of thing. And while I'm do that sometimes too, but I'm really skilled at that. And that's the world that I lived in for a long, long time. We made content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, from, making something from nothing. That's kind of what my professional experience was. Most people don't have that experience. So that's why I think planning is really key for them.
Do you push some of them out of the nest though? Because I know some people that they'll never launch. They'll stare at that calendar and they'll tweak and they'll redefine, and it never gets done.
Yeah, it does happen, unfortunately, because I think people naturally just want everything to be perfect before they ever put it out there. And unfortunately, the perfectionism is something that holds a lot of people back from ever starting, from ever launching, from ever putting it out there. Unfortunately, it just never is going to be perfect. And you've got to be okay with that. You've got to, myself included, when I first started out, Wes, I was leaving broadcasting and transitioning into this, I was creating videos. I was really good at on air. I had tons of experience on air, but I'm actually a self-taught editor, self-taught video producer from a technical perspective. Some of my earliest videos were really, really bad. Right? When I look back on them, I go, ooh, okay.
Do you leave them up?
But I did it anyway.
Did you leave them up?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Some of them are, well, a lot of them were for private clients and different things.
Okay.
They're
Yeah,
more
yeah.
necessarily all public.
Right.
But I would create a video and go, okay, well, and I had to let my perfectionist tendencies. I think that's a human trait. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you have to put that aside, and you're going to say, okay, listen, I'm going to do it anyway. So to your point, a lot of people I talk to are just toiling. They're just not ever doing, they just can't take that action. They want to, they know they should, but there's just something holding them back. And sometimes it's rooted in perfectionism.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done this a long time as well. And it's like most of the time, I just force myself to just hit record and just start talking. Cause I'm like, I'll find 100 things to go tweak before I'm like, oh no, I just got to trick myself. Just turn the record button on.
and it's because, you know what, it's at some point you have to decide, I'm going to take action. As imperfect as that action is, I'm still going to take action. Taking imperfect action is the thing that propels you forward. That's where progress lives. That's where evolution and iteration and creativity, all of that lives in that great place. So you have to take that imperfect action to ever get anywhere. The people who are not willing to do that are the people who toil, the people who never launch, the people who watch other people succeed in adoration and maybe even jealousy or envy. They sit on the sidelines because they're just not willing to do that for fear of ridicule, for fear that, oh, what will my family think, or what will my friends think? And at some point, you have to dig deep into your entrepreneurial spirit and say, like, am I an entrepreneur really? And if you are, then you are willing to take that imperfect action.
Yeah, I always tell people, if you were arrested for being an entrepreneur, would there be enough evidence to convict you?
That's
Most
right.
people, it's no.
That's a good one. I love that.
Oh man! Now you had mentioned like this monthly calendar, like one a week, and so is this like a more in-depth, a 10, 20, 30-minute piece that you would give out, or like how does somebody know? Should it be a daily? 3 or 5 minute piece versus a 30-minute piece?
Well, I think that comes down to, it's different for everyone because everyone's in a different industry. They're in a different niche. They have different goals, a different type of business structure. Like there's just so many things that go into it. So it isn't a cookie cutter approach to this, Wes, but one of the things on my YouTube channel that people can do is apply to work with me. It's a simple application. And you either going to get a 45-minute call with me or a 15-minute call with me. So it's a win-win, right? To get on and talk to me about what's going on for you. I can often figure out some quick wins or some solutions for someone based on asking more pointed questions. But yes, it's less about the length of the videos and more about the value you provide in the videos you create. So if you'd asked me, well, let's just talk about video length for starters. 3 years ago, I would have said, it's got to be 2 minutes or less, right? And that's what time it was then. But what time it is now is, especially COVID-19 and forward, it is about, am I showing up? Am I providing value? Is this meaningful to the person that I'm actually creating this for? That's what's more important. If it takes 8 minutes to explain that thing, it takes 8 minutes. If it takes 1, then that's cool. If it takes 20, that's what it is. So it's really more about value. In terms of the number of times, like, should I be posting every day? Should I be posting every week? So there's live streaming and then there's recorded videos. Recorded videos by nature are more production intensive, right? Because they don't fall from the sky. They have to get produced. I like to think that a once a week approach to that is great. And then what I would do is fill in the gap with live streaming, fill in the gap with Instagram stories, for example, or some other type of daily engagement platform, Snapchat, TikTok, name whichever one you want. But fill in the gaps around that core content. So the core content for me is YouTube. Every week I put out a video. Sometimes they're 15 minutes long. Sometimes they're 1 minute long. One of my most popular videos is less than a minute long, right? So, or less than 2 minutes long. So it's really about the value you provide.
Should I wear a hoodie and AirPods and drop the F-bomb like every other sentence? Would that help me go viral?
It's not in your style. It's not your style, Wes. I know that.
Oh, beep, 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 stop. Oh,
And it's
fine.
not my style either. Although, I don't know if you're familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right? So it's totally in his name. That is who he is at his core. That's his personality. And so it works for him. But it doesn't work for everyone. And so sometimes people get really caught up in wanting to try to imitate someone. And they see the success he's had and they go, I'm going to be Gary Vee. No, you're not. And nor should you. You should be you. You should just do what you do. Like, I'm a big Prince fan. I've been a Prince fan since I was 12. That's just a part of who I am. And so sometimes that kind of makes its way. I don't have it today, but like I sometimes have a Prince mug and whatever. That's just part of my personality. To see Gary Vee holding a Prince mug and be like, huh? That wouldn't make any sense. He needs to be holding a New York Jets mug. So it's whatever your personality is. Let that shine. Let it come out. Don't be afraid to just be yourself.
All right. So if I get in trouble, I'm going to blame it on you. All right.
Blame it on me.
Sheryl told me to be myself.
Hey.
So I am linking to your YouTube, linking to your Facebook. We're going to link to your content calendar. Is that it? Do you have if somebody's like jogging or they're driving right now, is there like a memorable URL or something we can give them?
Well, I'd say, the workwithsheryl.com is where people go to apply to work with me. And by work, I mean, it could lead to actually working together. When I say work, I mean, let's just talk. Let's just figure out some quick wins for you, whether that's, on these free calls. I'm happy to do that. Sometimes it is a perfect fit for me to work with someone further, but this is how I am able to really dial into what's going on for a person, because there are so many variables. And so work with Sheryl, and Sheryl is spelled with an S. So workwithsheryl.com, quick application. Let us take a look. You're either going to get a 15-minute or a 45-minute. We get on Zoom. Let's talk. Let's figure some stuff out. You're going to get some quick wins no matter what. And then we take it from there. But for those who are listening or watching, Wes, my YouTube channel is the place to go for weekly content. Subscribe to the channel. New videos every Thursday to help entrepreneurs increase their authority and income with video. And cashing on camera is really what it's all about in my world.
Very nice. Cash in on camera. Oh,
got it.
You saved the best for last. Right?
Thank you.
Very smart. All right, Miss Sheryl, all the way from, I don't know, near Detroit, but kind of Canada. Is that like by Mexico? Or is that the other way? I forget.
Yeah, you got to go way far north.
Oh, go up on the map. Okay, good. I think
just drive toward the Great Lakes and you'll find me. I'm in there somewhere.
She made him eat onions. So which one are you? Do you know that one?
I am near Lake Erie.
All right, so eat.
Yeah. Lake Erie.
That's how I remembered the 5 Great Lakes. She made him.
I never learned that. But here's why I didn't learn it that way, because I went to French school growing up.
Oh, whoa, so les le bon temps roulé, huh? That's right. The Cajun, go Tigers, that's right.
I'm from Timmins, which is home of Shania Twain. And that you have to look on a map, look way up in northern Ontario, and you'll find it. It's a mining city, and that's where I grew up and went to French school, like full French school, and so I didn't learn it that way. But yeah, so now we live in, but still a lot of French-speaking people actually in the community that we live in, and yeah.
Well, y'all gave us Celine Dion. That was kind of an act of war, but then you made peace with Shania, so it's all good for now. Right? We're neutral, so just.
Exactly.
Keep the Shania's coming. All right. Very nice. Well, thanks for coming on the show. Have a great day.
Thank you, Wes. This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
So how are you positioning yourself with video? How are you creating your own buzz? As I embark on this trip, you'll be seeing some video updates from me as well. People like to see what the heck's going on. And, it took me a while to kind of embrace that. I still don't do it as much. But video, demos, tutorials, things like that have been a big part of my secret of my success going all the way back to, I don't know, at least 2009. So get your phone turned on, okay? Get your webcam turned on and get found. You can create content like this. I do all of my interviews over Zoom now. I started with Skype. But I get the video. I embed it on my website. I put it on Vimeo to get additional juice. I embed it on the website with the audio, with the notes. So multimedia, multi-step, okay? Let people find you through the medium that is best for them. And video is here to stay. So make sure you're doing something with it. If you need some helps. If you need some help, you need some tips, you want to discuss this in further detail, join the conversation at theimplementors.com. If you want to really dig in, hit me up at 30daysalesgrowth.com. That's the paid group, live, recorded, private group calls every Monday. There's video content. There's templates. There's really my life's work has been put into that group, and it's super affordable with month-to-month options. And but you're able to interact with me, ask questions, and the groups are still small, at least those that show up. So it's almost like one-on-one training. Not quite, but kind of, sort of. So come on. But if you do need one-on-one, I offer that as well. Go to thesaleswhisper.com and then hit the talk button or talk with Wes, and we'll set a time to have a one-on-one conversation, see if there's a fit for us to work together, and I'll show you what that entails. We'll discuss prices, timing, and make it happen. All right? Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe. Give me a 5-star review, would you? Pretty please. I'll go sell something.